Hello, so today we're going to be doing a fun VOD review. This is going to be me talking about a Caitlyn game with snipers. This is the first time that I was able to play 6 sniper, and I'm going to talk about snipers and just that in general for this and kind of make it as much of a guide as I can. But today's like a little bit of a break day. I spent a lot of time on the Master Elo series. If you haven't seen, I did like a big item guide and a couple other guides currently on my YouTube, and now I'm just taking a break day, and then I'm going to continue with some more guides later in the week. If you like my content, if you're here from one of those guides and you do enjoy the guides more than the VOD reviews, or vice versa, either way, please make sure to like and subscribe. Like 90% of you aren't subscribed, and there's a lot of you that come back to these videos according to the statistics. So, you know, if you're liking my content that you're watching a couple times, it really does help me out if you subscribe. But anyways, let's get straight into it. So just judging by the opener, you're going to see why I end up playing snipers. I start off with a 3 cost. A lot of times when you get dropped at 3 cost in the game, it's typically going to be a lot better than a 1 cost for a front line. Looking at this spot, it looks very, very AD to me. There's not that many components, but I did start with a chainmail, so I don't have a great offensive component. But what I mean by AD is that I can play around bruisers, and typically if you're playing bruisers, you're playing snipers. That's like a really good line that goes together with the bruiser front line. I already have a Steb pair, a Maddie pair, but then additionally I have some Black Rose units which I'm holding on to. But as you can see, I have a lot of bruisers. I have this Nunu, which is a 3 cost frontline unit, and I have a 2 cost set. These units, if I hold on to them, are going to be very expensive because I can't make econ. However, if I am able to make econ and win the fights instead, then I'll be able to tempo really hard because I'm going to be really strong. So here I kind of high roll very, very hard. So I take the tower defense. When I'm looking at my augments, I'm just looking for something that makes me strong now. Something like prize fighter is a little bit awkward because I don't really have damage items, so I don't know if it's going to be good. I just take the emblem because I say to myself, if it's an emblem that I can use, I have this bruiser front line, and then I can make a use of this emblem. If I don't have a bruiser, like if I end up not playing the bruisers as a front line, and I get like another front line emblem, I can find a way to pivot later in the game. So for what I want, for what it's worth, I say I might as well just take the target dummy. Target dummy does damage because the way the tower defense works is it shoots damage. So I'm like, okay, this is cool. I hit sniper, which is an extremely high roll. So now I have a bunch of Maddies. I don't really have a component or an item to slam, but I have this really strong front line, and I can maybe sell some of the other units in order to stabilize my econ and then start to generate econ. But I'm going to be very strong early. Now, in terms of sniper, let's just go through what you're trying to plan around if you're playing around snipers or if you're planning to play sniper. Here I have an emblem, so I'm kind of like forcing the issue that I'm going to be playing snipers. But let's just talk about the board in general. So typically the board that you play is usually the main reliable option. Now I did talk about Maddie one day. I'm not going to say that Maddie is like a hard force always play Maddie line whenever you see snipers. I don't think she's that broken or that good in general. The only thing, like usually the line that you play is Twitch that looks something like this. So it's Twitch, eventually you find a Caitlyn, and then you have a Mundo, right? And this line is very unreliable. I don't like it that much. So a lot of times you're playing this board, which is a level 8 board, and as you can see, it's 5 bruiser. So unless you really high roll, you can't really play around Twitch very easily because it's hard to fit in both experiment as well as 6 bruiser as well as sniper. It just doesn't fit in the board really well. But typically with Twitch is an auto attacker, so you usually put a Gwinsu on Twitch. Basically want him to ramp up so that he fires these extra bolts and he does like these extra damage to everybody, right? Experiment bonus is also every 5 attacks, deal physical damage equal to 15% of their max health. So the experiment bonus is actually very massive on Twitch, especially if you make him into like an auto attacker, rapid fire type of you know, attack as many times as possible, which is like the epitome of Gwinsu. So typically you want Gwinsu and attack speed on Twitch, and then at one point he starts melting everybody because of the combination of his experiment bonus in addition to sniper, in addition to the fact that he like shoots at random enemies. He can just like kind of delete and melt the whole board. Now, like I was saying before, because you're a Gwinsu user, you want to have a really strong front line. So ideally, you want to have something like 6 bruiser. You want to pick a vertical trait. Here we pick bruiser because it has experiment. One of the bruisers is an experiment, so it synergizes really well with the Twitch. That's the main reason why you play bruisers with snipers. If you're playing around this line, also like Maddie and Steb like synergize with enforcer here additionally. That's just another point. Now, in order to fit in experiment though, you either need to be level 9 to fit in 2 sniper, 6 bruiser experiment, or you eventually have a bruiser spatula. So a lot of times this comp is locked behind an early bruiser spatula. It's very, very conditional. It's very, very hard to play this without a bruiser spatula unless you're very, very, very ahead. Because if you're not that much ahead, let's say you don't have a bruiser emblem, then you're pretty much forced to play 4 bruiser. And you can play like 4 bruiser with more experiments. You can play like more snipers. Like there's other options, of course. But a lot of the options require you to get to level 9 in order to actually realize the full potential of it, unless you have a spatula. So in this case, as you can see here, the main reason it works is because you have such an impenetrable front line. Bruiser synergizes well with Mundo because he scales off HP. Experiment bonus, you really need experiment bonus on Twitch. If you're playing Twitch without experiment bonus, the Twitch is probably going to do nothing. He's very, very mid, very, very bad if you don't fit in experiment. And then eventually you cap out around the Caitlyn. Now, in this particular situation, though, I can fit in more snipers, right? I don't have a bruiser emblem, but I have a sniper emblem. So instead of making a very, very strong front line, what I could do is I can try and structure my board to become more towards playing 4 snipers. Now, 4 sniper is not going to be better than the typical Twitch bruiser board, but if you end up finding a Caitlyn too, eventually the Caitlyn becomes your main carry. So this comp has to be very, very tempo. You have to be very, very strong early and you have to play it from ahead. It just so happens that I high rolled into a sniper emblem while already having a really good front line, so I expect to be playing this from ahead. Because if you can make it to level 9 and you can play around Caitlyn with 4 sniper or even 6 sniper, then your front line starts to matter less because you're doing so much damage. You're not trying to ramp up with a Gwinsu. Caitlyn is a casting AD unit, so she's really good. You don't really need to stack attack speed on her. You just need her to get some casts off. So something like, you know, she gets some from sniper she gets damage amp, and from enforcer she gets damage amp. So if you put something like IE Last Whisper on Caitlyn, we talked about this when we're itemizing 5 costs in one of my previous guides of yesterday, I'm pretty sure. You can itemize her in a way that makes it so that she basically is like deleting units instantly, and that's like the goal of this comp. Now that's what I mean by you have to play from ahead. You either have to have a bunch of HP or a bunch of gold, but in a lot of cases you have to be win streaking to have that, right? If you win streak, you get gold per round and you get the HP. So you want to be tempoing. You want to be very, very strong for most of the game. And Twitch is kind of like an afterthought that we can use to stabilize our board at different points in the game. Additionally, because we have the sniper emblem, in the worst case scenario, if we end up playing around Twitch, we can fit in the bruiser Twitch line. Because with an emblem, our front line isn't as good because we can't play that well around Mundo as our main tank. But because we have a sniper +1, right, we can easily just fit in, who's my bruiser that I'm missing? Trundle. Right, you can still fit in 6 bruiser. No, I'm not missing Trundle. I'm missing Set. Right, you can still play this board, right? But then your damage is really lacking because you have just the Twitch as damage. But you can fit in 3 experiment with 6 bruiser with an emblem, because basically I would just have the sniper emblem on the dummy that would give me the 2 sniper to help out the Twitch. So it's still possible, but that's what I mean. There's 2 options, but they're both fairly high roll. So we want to just be strong early, and that's like the mentality you should have. So that's why your spot has to be good for it. If your spot isn't good for it, it becomes a little bit awkward. Here I'm forced with the emblem, but like I said, this is going to end up being a really fun game. So as you can see, here I'm just leveling. I'm already level 5. I'm 4 bruiser, 2 enforcer, 2 sniper, just playing around this Maddie. Here I made a gargoyle stone plate. The reason I made gargoyle is because of the Nunu being very, very strong. Another thing that I want to note, I thought I didn't show it to you guys already, which is kind of rough. But check out here. This is a really, really important point, right? Watch what I do here. So I have this Nunu, right? We're going back a couple rounds, but early in the game. This is what I mean by you have to be strong early and you have to tempo, right? This is not a comp where you can greed. If you're playing snipers with an emblem, if you're playing snipers without an emblem, whatever you're playing, whenever you're playing this AD line, you can't greed. You have to be strong at a certain point in the game. If you look at the left of my screen, I'm going to get the inking out here so that I can make it a little bit more informative. So if we take out, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, boom. Okay, so there's a Nunu in my shop, right? I buy a Nunu. Do I hesitate at all? No, I have a duplicator on my bench, right? Look at this duplicator, right? This duplicator, maybe I go for Maddie 3, maybe I go for Steb 3, maybe I go for Kog'Maw 3, maybe I go for something else 3, right? There's lots of lines that you can play towards here. I don't like to play around Kog'Maw ever. I think Kog'Maw is very, very mid if you don't have a really, really high roll spot for the Kog'Maw unit. Kog'Maw is one of the biggest baits ever. I absolutely don't like the unit. You need to like high roll so hard because you need like so many things to go right with that comp. I could eventually play around Kog'Maw, but instead I just decide with this opener, the strongest thing that I can do right now is I can duplicate this Nunu. Now, obviously, I can hold on to the duplicate. I can go for a reroll line. It's obviously valid. But by duplicating this Nunu, I have now made a Giga Tank. I have now made a 2-star 3-cost unit on stage 2. That is incredibly high roll and is incredibly strong, and most people in the lobby won't be able to deal with it. And it's not only that, I'm playing bruisers anyways, so this Nunu is giga juiced by the trait itself as well. Next turn I can even level to 5 to guarantee that I'm 4 bruiser. That's only if I really need to win, but I'm going to be very, very strong for a large portion of this game. One thing that you should always note is if you're in a spot for this, either a 2-star 2 cost, a 2-star 3 cost, if it's stage 2 and you have a duplicator, you do not have to commit to a reroll line. You do not have to hold on to the duplicator and think to yourself, I will use this later to get a 3-star unit. Use it early. The earlier you can, even with augments, right? If you take something like Heroic Grab Bag and you get 2 duplicators, sometimes it's better to just take an augment like that, star up a 3-cost unit, and become extremely strong in your early game because it will set you up very well for your late game. So as you can see here, I'm going to make Econ. I'm going to make Gold. I'm going to win this round. I'm going to keep winning. I'm going to keep this win streak as long as possible. This Nunu 2 is going to be a Nunu 2 for the entirety, for most of the game, right? If you think about it, how many times, even if you're playing Twitch, do you go for Nunu 3? Not that often, right? A lot of times, the stabilization point for most comps is getting the 2-star variation of the unit. So having a 2-star Nunu on my board, this 2-star Nunu might be my tank, one of my major contributors to my front line, until the end of the game. So having it on stage 2, that speaks to how strong I am in a spot right now. How strong my spot is right now. That's the way you should consider it. There's an opportunity cost, of course, like, you usually save your duplicator for the last cop because if you're going for a 3-star, it's easier to hit it that way. But no, like I said before, when you're playing around snipers and you're playing around these AD lines, you have to play it from a good spot. You can't play it from a lose streak. You can't, it's not a comp where you turn around and you win. It's a comp where you have to, stabilize, be very strong, make it to level 9, upgrade on level 9, high roll, win. That's the way that it goes. If you can make it to level 9, this comp is very, very strong. If you can make it to Caitlyn 2, you're in a game-winning spot. If you're stuck on level 8, you don't have Twitch 2, you don't have Mundo 2, you don't have Bruisers upgraded, then that's where things start to fall apart really fast. Because if you don't have a stable front line, or if your Twitch gets sniped because he's not 2-star, or he doesn't have the damage, it falls apart very fast, right? You have a very thin margin where you need to make sure that your front line is stable enough to support the backline Guinsoo. That's really, really important. Very, very, very important. I know people say that I say very a lot. The reason I say it is because, I'm trying to stress important information. So, if it's a pet peeve of yours, I'm sorry. That's just the way I speak. I know somebody was... I got, 2 or 3 comments about it, but it is what it is. I can't help the way that I enunciate my words and choose my words without, long-term changes. So, be ready. I will say very, very, very. Here I just slammed Gargoyle. Gargoyle is really good because it gives armor and MR. It's not the best item to slam, obviously, but because I'm streaking, I'm trying to slam any item. I was last pick on Carousel, so I just made the best item that I think I could make in that spot. And here I'm just going to focus now on making Econ. I leveled to 5. I'm fairly strong. I don't necessarily have to level to 6 here or do anything super crazy. I'm doing a little scout around. There aren't that many items on the boards in general, so I'm not sure exactly how things are going to pan out, but we're going to see how it goes. As you can see, I'm also holding on to extra copies of Maddie and Steb. Maybe I end up playing around Maddie reroll, Steb reroll, which I talked about a little bit before in a previous video. But until then, we're just going to chill, basically. Also, I'm going to get my inking working. I'm sorry, guys. Sometimes the inking breaks, and I don't know it until the game starts, because it's good right before, and then it breaks when I hit the start record sometimes. All right, we're good to go. So like I said, you want to play this comp from ahead. I see the sniper emblem. I had a high roll spot. I got 2 Nunus, instantly used the duplicator, right? If I didn't use it on the Nunu, I would have used it on the set, right? I have 2 copies of set. You want to make sure that you upgrade those frontline units. A lot of times early game frontline unit upgrades are what are going to change the outcome of the fight. More so than backline, because a lot of times if your front line gets run down, it doesn't matter how strong your backline unit is, they won't have time to do the damage. But yeah, that's the intro. That's my stage 2. So that's what I mean. This is you take a high roll spot. Obviously, I'm not saying that I'm the best player ever. I'm not saying that this is the craziest game ever. I'm taking a spot where I got offered something that's somewhat high roll, and you have to identify and you have to use it, right? I got a duplicator. I got 2 Nunus. You use it instantly. You streak. You get the gold from streaking. You get the gold from winning. You keep your HP. You put yourself in an insanely good spot for the rest of the game. Here, like, what I like is Guinsoo. Guinsoo's pretty good on Maddie, and it also gives me the option to play around Twitch. So I'm going to make a Guinsoo for sure. After Guinsoo, I'm either making Sunfire or Redemption. This tier isn't bad, because if I'm playing around Caitlyn, a tier is fine to play around. It's also a good frontline item. Making Anti-Heal is pretty good, and Sunfire Cape scales HP, so it also works kind of okay with Bruiser, because they have like a double scaling thing going on there. It's not the end of the world. This guy looks like he's committing to Maddie reroll, which is really funny to me, because his spot does not look good for Maddie reroll. You cannot play Maddie reroll if there's another person holding on to Maddies and Bruisers. That is the worst thing this guy can do, is play Maddie reroll from here. Now, I made a video on Maddie reroll because it's like part of what got me to like Masters. Like, now I'm Masters. This is a bit of an older VOD. Probably from the same evening, I think. I think this VOD is from the exact same evening I got to Masters. I just did my like 200 LP climb in one sitting, because I just dialed in and focused up and did my VOD reviews. I'm like, okay, I know what I did wrong. I know what I have to do right. But you should never play, like, I as much as I like am a Maddie believer and I talk about her really well and favorably, you cannot play Maddie reroll from a spot where somebody else is holding on to Bruisers. I have a sniper emblem, right? I'm not even holding on to these units to grief this guy, right? I could sell the Maddies, but there's no point. I'm not making any more econ. The reason you always hold on to extra copies of the units that you're playing is that it can save you removers later, right? Let's say I'm not going for Maddie 3. I still want to have another Maddie 2-star on my board. The reason I want another Maddie 2-star on my bench is because, sorry, not on my board, on my bench, is because what if I want to transfer items to Twitch? Instead of using a remover, I can just sell my Maddies and I have a second Maddie ready to go. That's why people hold on to it a lot. It's always correct. Anyways, lineup here is really good. Lineup is pretty mid on stats, but in this case, I'm playing a vertical line of Bruisers eventually, so I want to play lineup because it gives me armor and magic resist for every unit that's in the first 2 rows. So what I'm planning on doing is just putting all my frontline units in the first 2 rows, maybe some extra units in the first 2 rows, and then I'll be fine. So as I can say here, right, this is not me griefing the other guy. I want to be very clear by that. I am also playing snipers. I have a sniper emblem. If I have a Maddie 3 is good. What's my best unit to put in here? It's the other Maddie 2. I put in 2 Maddie 2s. I have a sniper emblem. If I hit Maddie 3, I hit Maddie 3. I'm not rolling for it. But if I need to now, if I need to sell, for example, like, let's say I hit a Twitch next shop. I don't have to use a remover. I can sell one of my Maddies, and I can put the items on the Twitch instead. That's really important late game, because sometimes you run out of removers late game. So you always want to hold an extra copy, or if you can, as long as it's not griefing your econ, like as long as it's not costing you gold long term, you want to hold on to extra copies of units that are on your board, because even if you're not going for the 3-star version of them, having an extra copy allows you to like shift items around sometimes. And that's very, very important. That's what I'm saying. You have to identify that as well, right? I would never reroll Maddie from the spot that I'm in, because there's obviously another guy that's rerolling Maddie, but like if somebody who's playing snipers and bruisers is not a good spot. Maddie reroll is really strong when people are playing sentinels and Violet, because Violet, they hold on to all the 1 costs, and sentinels, it doesn't matter whether or not they're rerolling the sentinels, they're still holding on to them for the entire duration of the game, which is like really, it's just math at that point. You just hit for free. But anyways, I digress. Here I have double Maddie. Double Maddie's fine. I could put more units in my first 2 rows. Like I could move this target dummy to give a little bit more armor to my front line. But right now I think that I have enough front line with the new 2, so I really just want to have more damage, which is why I'm playing the double Maddie and I have the sniper emblem in the back row. Sniper emblem in the back row, the dummy, the bullets get sniper value, so it works out really well, and I get an extra damage dealer instead of an extra frontline unit. So we're balancing, like I said. Pay attention to this game as well from very early on. This Nunu is upgraded since the beginning of the game. Please keep tabs on how long this Nunu 2 is on my board, and then use it to like math out, like, you know, how valuable it was to duplicate it on round 2. But already it got so much value. I've won every single round. I'm level 650 gold. I am setting the pace of the lobby. I'm very, very ahead of everybody else. Now I could continue to convert that, but at this point, I really need to focus on econ, because I need to make sure that I hit a stable board on level 8, right? I'm not just going to like psycho level to 7, psycho level to 8 to keep my win streak, because I'd rather just make sure that I have a really good bank set up for future endeavors in this game. So here we go. We have next round here, upgrade Trundle, sure. I could level to 7 here to try and win streak. It does grief my econ a little bit, so you might see me not level to 7 here. It is protecting an 8 streak, so it is a sacrifice of gold. So you can make an argument both ways. I look at this guy's board and I think to myself, I don't think I can beat him even if I level up. Because I'm leveling for nothing. It's not like I'm leveling for 4 sniper or I'm leveling for something crazy. It's more so like, it's like I think I can win, but I probably don't want to level in this particular situation right away. Because basically the level, it costs around 30 gold. So yes, I'm keeping my streak of +3, but I'm also losing +3, so it's almost like net neutral, if that makes sense. It's like, you know, leveling and keeping my streak gives me like gold potential in the future, and it gives me like +1 gold technically if I keep my streak, but I'd rather just greed it and not grief my econ, because I don't know if I beat that guy anyways, even if I level. Next turn, it might be a little bit more easy to like justify leveling, because I have so much extra gold banked up, but we'll see how it goes. But whenever you have to think about leveling, you always have to think of 2 things. Number 1, what are you putting in? And number 2, whether or not it's worth it in the lobby that you're in. So, for example, here, leveling is free, or pretty much free, like as you can see. So, I'm going to level here, even though it's off tempo. I can always sell the copy of the set or the copy of the steb, because it's not that big of a deal if set or steb are upgraded. They're not like the main frontline tanks. It's good to hold them as pairs. If I win this fight, that's great. I just play an extra Nunu here. But as you can see, it didn't grief my econ, because I'm still be making 50 gold. Oh, I put a set in. I put set in because set has a stun. You can make an argument for either one. So here I'm fighting the guy that I wasn't sure if I win. This guy's Pyromaniac 3-item Ziggs with Black Rose. So I'm pretty sure I don't beat him. I also positioned in a poor way because the Scion basically just dashed to my Maddies. So my Maddies lost a lot of their sniper value. If you look at this fight, you're going to see that it's very, very close. But I think I'm going to end up losing here, and it's going to be the round that I lose. Yeah. It's close because I almost killed their front line, but it's just the Ziggs is just way too strong. The Ziggs is, like, compared to my board, this guy is way stronger than me. So I lose this round. That's expected, but I didn't grief my econ the turn before, and I kept my win streak as long as possible. We're still in a really great spot, right? We're level 7, 60 gold on 3-7. And a lot of that comes from, obviously I high rolled. I got 2 Nunus. Obviously I high rolled. I got a Maddie when I already had a sniper emblem. Obviously I high rolled. I have all these bruisers, right? I'm not saying that I didn't high roll. That's not the point of the video. The point of this video is to say, when you're high rolling, make sure you identify the best way to make sure that you continue to streak, continue to put pressure on the lobby. That is the most important thing, right? A lot of times you can high roll and you're just like, oh yeah, and then you just like kick back the chair, you know, sit back and like put your hands up behind your head. It's like, no, it's like, this game I have to win, because if you look at my match history, the last 2 games weren't particularly lucky, and I got a 5th and a 5th. So, you know, if this is the game that I'm going first, you sure as hell bet that I'm going to make sure that I go first this game. That's the mentality you should have, right? So play aggressive, play strong boards, get that gold from winning rounds, use that gold to convert to win. Here, I'm going to sack 1, 4-2. The only other person that's playing AD or snipers is the Maddie reroller. There's no way they're going to be in a spot to roll for Twitch, because they're already low roll. I get 2 extra duplicators here, so, you know, who knows? Maybe I just hit a 3-star unit as well. I'm still playing the double Maddies. Both Maddies get enforcer value, so if I kill the wanted unit, it's pretty good to just play double Maddie. I could eventually switch to 4 sniper, but we'll see how it goes. Here I just put the glove on the Maddie to get a little bit of extra value, raise the crit chance a little bit. I still have this tier that I'm holding on to. We'll figure it out later. Ideally, I want to make a last whisper, or some sort of like armor sundering, whatever. And then last augment is prismatic. I see sniper crown, right? Sniper crown gives a Zeri and a sniper emblem. I'm down to just go all in on the sniper build right now. Anger issues isn't good because a lot of the units don't really want the attack speed, and I have really good items, so I don't really care. Oh, sorry, I have sundering with the even shot. I didn't realize I made it just that turn. So I basically just want another damage item, so a guard breaker or an IE or something to give that crit chance synergy with the IE that I already made. So anger issues isn't that great. I think maybe it's good on Twitch, but that's a little bit hard to tell. Trifecta is okay, but I'm not playing that many 3 costs. It would be better if I was playing around Kog'Maw, but I'm not playing a backline 3 cost as my main carry. So I don't want to play Trifecta. Blinding speed is just items. I already have items, so I just take Sniper Emblem. It's not the best thing to do, but it does unlock the potential to play around 6 Sniper, as well as more easily play around 4 Sniper. Out of nowhere, I just find a Caitlyn, by the way. So, you know what this is the part where it gets silly and it gets fun. So, if you've been enjoying the video, please make sure to enjoy it a little bit more, because this is where things start to get nutty. I am in a giga spot because I found a Caitlyn in one roll on level 8. This Caitlyn is so Caitlyn's a little bit annoying because sometimes she does nothing, but sometimes she just deletes the board. She is so strong sometimes. If you're vertical enforcer or vertical sniper, this unit just absolutely mauls the opponents. I am so strong right now because not only do I have Maddie that's doing a bunch of damage, this is a Caitlyn 1 with 1 item. It is so good. So what's the goal here? What's the goal? What are you thinking about the board, right? Now, remember what I was saying before. If you're playing around Twitch, you need a really, really strong front line because you don't have the damage, right? You need the Twitch to ramp up. Well, guess what? I already found a Caitlyn, right? You play with the how do I phrase it? You dance with the girl you brought to the party. You know what I mean? I got a Caitlyn. I don't give a fuck about Twitch anymore. That shit ass unit. I hate Twitch. All my homies hate Twitch. Twitch, pff, fuck, get out of here, right? You know what we're doing now? We have 2 sniper emblems. We're gonna play 6 sniper, and we're gonna sacrifice a bit of our front line, right? Our front line's gonna look weaker, right? It's obviously gonna sacrifice. We're gonna play 4 bruiser, but we're gonna have so much damage on this Caitlyn that it won't matter. The fights are gonna last nothing. Before you blink, the board is gonna be gone. How do you build Caitlyn? We talked about it yesterday. Caitlyn is a caster. I already have a tier. You want to put a mana item on Caitlyn to make sure that she casts. If you have a lot of damage amp, which you do with sniper, right? You get 35% damage per hex plus 5 range. So this Caitlyn has an insane amount of damage amp. What can I do to scale the damage really well? Crit. We're going to put... Guess what? I already have 2 IEs. You know what we're doing? We're doing the meme build. That's right, folks. We're going to do a double IE blue buff Caitlyn. That's our goal, and we're going to delete everybody. Nobody's going to stand a chance. It's going to be over, right? But the reason we're in this spot is obviously because of high rolls. I want to be very, very clear. This is a very high roll spot. You can't just play this out of nowhere. But this is an idea of how you convert off of the situation, right? I had a sniper emblem. I played around my opener. I duplicated the Nunu. I have a lot of HP to work with, right? I have a lot of HP. Guess what I get on carousel? Blue buff. GG. Blue buff is really good on Caitlyn because she has a low mana threshold. So it gives her damage amp and good stats, and it also allows her to cast a lot faster. Shojin's also really good. Adaptable is also pretty good, but blue buff I think is the best. Blue buff double IE. I know it looks really weird, but IEs give a lot of AD, and they both stack the crit chance, so it gives her almost a guaranteed crit shot on everybody. So what we do is we go double IE blue buff on Caitlyn here. It's going to be way more damage. We don't care about Twitch. We're not even going to roll for Twitch that much. Here, I just frontline the Kog'Maw, frontline the dummy because who cares? This Caitlyn's going to delete everybody with 6 sniper. We have so much damage amp that's stacking the crit chance to make sure that, here it says we have 95% crit chance, 150% crit damage. That's good. We're fine. Look at these fights. The fight lasted 10 seconds. The whole board was dead in 10 seconds. And that's a Caitlyn 1. Right? That's not even a Caitlyn 2. That's a Caitlyn 1. So... now comes Anomaly. What do we want on Anomaly? Caitlyn has enough damage. We have 6 sniper. We just want either more damage, maybe more frontline, but we've already sacrificing our frontline. Ideally, we get something that helps Caitlyn cast. What do we hit? Mana. Mana. That's all you want right now. Because, technically you can go more AD, technically you can go more frontline. No, we want mana because mana, of course I take whatever I hit because, anomalies, you can't get the exact one that you want, but 20 mana per kill. Who's doing the damage on my board? Caitlyn. Who's gonna kill the units? Caitlyn. So she's gonna get mana each cast. This is gonna make it so that she can chain cast now. All I care about is Caitlyn casting. Her damage is in her ult, right? There's some units where they're auto attackers, empower the next attack, do this. Think of Kog'Maw, just ramps up attack speed and then just melts people that way. Caitlyn melts by getting a cast off. If you get the cast off, you'll be fine. That's why it's really hard to play around Caitlyn sometimes late game, because sometimes you just don't have mana items, and then Gwinsu's really bad on her. We just put this on her. We're good. She has insane damage amp. She has insane everything. I have 2 duplicators, so my goal here is to probably play around Nunu 3 as my front line. So eventually, if I find 1 extra copy of Nunu, then I'll stabilize my front line a little bit with 4 Bruiser Nunu 3, which should be tanky enough. But the fights are going to last so little because I have so much damage, right? Before, when you're playing, like, you always have to balance these things, right? A lot of times you have to balance frontline with damage. Here, because I'm 6 sniper, I have so much damage. I wouldn't recommend aiming towards 6 sniper normally. As you can see, I'm playing 6 sniper because I have 2 sniper emblems, right? I'm able to play 2 sniper emblems, and I'm still able to play 4 bruisers, right? Technically, also, if you really want to optimize my board, I could also lose Steb here because I have double enforcer. I'm not going to play 4 enforcer in this game, probably, because it's a little bit clumsy to fit in. But I could just put in set or like a higher cost unit over the Steb because I have 2 enforcer with Maddie already. But if you look at this board, look at the fight. The fight lasts like 5 seconds, right? It does not matter what people have. I'm just gonna delete the board. And she also snipes the backline, which is kind of crazy. So you could also do that. Here I have a Twitch. I could just play around this Twitch as well with a Gwinsu. But it just doesn't matter. I'm not trying to ramp up anybody anymore. The Gwinsu is okay on Zeri. I want to put maybe some utility on Zeri. But either way, I can just work on front line and then figure out the rest. I'm putting as many units in the front line as possible because I have the silver augment that gives me some extra armor as well. But a lot of this decision making that I'm doing here is because I have the Caitlyn. The sniper emblem was fine. If I had the double sniper emblem, it was just to, I would still try and play around Twitch. I'd roll a lot deeper. Here I don't care anymore because I just know that Caitlyn's going to be stable enough for me to just like absolutely like delete units. So I'm totally okay with like, you know, blue buff double IE Caitlyn. If I had a Caitlyn 2, it's GG. I don't think anybody can beat me. There was a Chem Baron guy, but I think he pushed it too close to the cash out and he died. So that's fine by me. And then I have these double duplicators, so if I can hit 1 extra copy of Nunu, then I'll play Nunu whatever. As you can see here, I'm trying to figure out if I should play 4 sniper or if I should put in experiment and play experiment with Twitch. I like the sniper setup a lot better. But like I said, the only reason this works is because not only do I have a Caitlyn, I have good Caitlyn items, and I have 6 sniper, and my Nunu is pretty stable. And as you can see, look who's on my board. Who's my main tank up until now? It's stage 5. It's still the Nunu that I used the duplicator on the first round. But watch this Caitlyn, man. This Caitlyn is so cool. This round, this guy was very strong, by the way. Mentorship, Silco 2, Dominator, Metacomp, does not matter. You cannot withstand a Caitlyn ult with double IE. double IE 6 sniper. It's kind of nuts. But anyways, if we look around, there's a lot of boards that are pretty strong. We might lose a fight here or there. Because, of course, my Caitlyn is also very vulnerable. If I lose my Caitlyn, I lose all my damage. I'm very funneled onto one unit doing everything right now. So eventually, especially late game, I'm going to want to take these attack speed items and eventually play Twitch. Here I just leveled to 9. It's a little bit of a sacrifice of econ, but I would rather save my HP and win this fight. I can just play another copy of Nunu in the front line. It's a duplicate Nunu, I understand, but it still gets the 4 bruiser bonus, so it's effectively a decent front line for what I have. But as you can see, it does not matter. Everybody's getting pretty much one shot, right? Heimer lived to like 1 HP, and then Zeri just finished him off, so we're down. This Caitlyn just absolutely destroys, right? Obviously, you can't really play 6 sniper without the Caitlyn. If you play 6 sniper, Twitch is not going to do that much because Twitch still needs to ramp up with the Gwinsu. So you know this is definitely a sometimes food. Here I hit Twitch 2, so I'm gonna switch Zeri out for Twitch here. I'm also very close to Maddie 3, so I'm kind of down to maybe, I'm not gonna make Maddie 3 right now, but I'm down to make Maddie 3 if I don't find a Nunu basically. Here I'm rolling a little bit. I'm basically rolling for Nunu or Caitlyn. I just want to keep my streak before going into neutrals. I end up hitting a Mel. So what I do here is I switch out the Nunu for frontline and I put Sniper Mel. Now I'm assuming Sniper Mel is going to have some sort of synergy where Mel is going to get damage amp based on like the distance and she hits like the whole board. As you can see, I put QSS with the Twitch. QSS gives a bunch of attack speed, so you can treat it as a starting attack speed build on Twitch. It's totally fine. Even though QSS is maybe more of a frontline item, it works fine on a backline unit as well. And then, yeah, Caitlyn's just going to clean up shop here. As you can see, Twitch is doing almost as much damage as Caitlyn. 6 Sniper is very strong with the Twitch, but it's fine, right? Also, QSS helps him in getting a lot of the attack off in his first auto attacks. Typically, you want to play experiment with Twitch. This is a very niche situation where I don't really need it. And I'd rather play the 6 cost. Mel also gives me insurance. It's like a life insurance policy because I got her so early that she's basically always going to get her banished mage trait active. So if I end up like bleeding out and losing a bunch of rounds, she'll save me with 1 HP, which is pretty cool. Here I want either attack speed or like something to do some damage. I just take Runans. It was either Runans or double Guinsu, but I kind of like Runans because I'm scared that this Twitch won't ramp up anyways because I don't have that much front line. So I don't want to go for ramping build. I just want to go for more starting attack speed and a little bit more spread damage to kind of help out with the Caitlyn. Here I put some more units in my front line just to make that silver augment get a little bit more value. I also have a tier left over, which I can eventually put on the Mel, maybe a tier item, or just extra starting mana. Here, ideally, I just need 1 copy of Nunu. If I hit 1 copy of Nunu, then I can play around Nunu 3. I'm still Caitlyn 1, by the way, but in a setup like this, the 5 cost is just going to do so much damage, so we're totally fine. This guy put his Heimer on the complete opposite side of my Caitlyn. I don't know why, but I don't see this going well for him, and that's okay. Maybe it was positioning for the other dude. But yeah. This is looking kind of rough. Caitlyn, 10k damage. Caitlyn 1. Imagine we had Caitlyn 2, though. We're just waiting on Caitlyn 2. This guy is scary. This guy's very strong. He's also greeting to go 9. I had a Warwick. I don't know if Warwick's any good in this spot in particular. Because, you know, I'm not really changing my board that much. I'm trying to debate here, Experiment or not. Experiment is really strong, but I don't think it's stronger than Mel. I don't really care that much about this Twitch, if I'm being real. I could also play Rennie over one of the other bruisers. Right now I have Stebbin. I think it's just an oversight by me. I'm just not considering the fact that I want to get rid of the Steb. Oh, I used 1 duplicator on Maddie. She's in the front line anyways. I think that was a mistake. I think I kind of panicked a little bit, right? I duplicated the Maddie because I was 1 off. I don't think it's worth it. Mundo could be a next in. I don't think I'm ever playing Warwick, even though he's a 6 cost. I think I'm always just playing Mel if I have the option. And then here, I have Twitch on the opposite side of my Caitlyn, just for like a case like that, where if the Caitlyn gets wrapped, I still have this Twitch that can ramp up and finish off the job. So this guy got unchecked for a while, because basically like this was a little bit of a problem. And then Twitch cleaned up shop with 6 sniper. We're not really finding that many more Caitlyns. Here I finally get rid of Steb. Like, it's Steb for this for sure, right? Just play Elise. I don't think I need more Enforcer. Enforcer is kind of fake unless you have a lot of Enforcer. Enforcer gives a bunch of attack speed, but it's contingent on killing units that are wanted. And sometimes the wanted units are in like the worst possible spot. So you really just don't get that much value off of Enforcer. So I don't really care about it. Enforcer is really good if you have like 6 or 8 Enforcer in these type of setups, because there's so many wanted units that you're always getting value off of it. But like until then, it's like I don't think so. Here Mel has really low mana, so blue buff is really good on Mel. So I'm just itemizing this Mel to do some extra damage as well. She has a sniper emblem anyway, so it's totally fine. I wish I didn't duplicate the Maddie though, because then I could have gotten Nunu 3 pretty easily. See, like right here now, I can't get Nunu 3. I kind of high rolled a little bit, but this Maddie was a mistake because I care more about having Nunu 3 than having the Maddie. Also, I've been level 9 for an entire stage, and I haven't found Caitlyn 2. Riddle me that. You know, sometimes you high roll, sometimes you low roll, but that's what I mean. You have to make sure that you're careful about how you play to give yourself the best chance of winning. So me playing around this Caitlyn 1 is definitely the correct choice. I stabilized around a secondary carry, which is this Twitch, that does a lot of damage as well. You'll see that he does almost as much damage as the Caitlyn. But that's fine because he has no experiment in. And we just haven't lost a round. We're just steamrolling everybody. Like I said, if you have a setup like this where you have so much damage, I'm sacrificing frontline, yes, but there's almost no chance that anybody's going to be able to beat me. This guy is extremely strong, by the way. Level 10, Victor, right? Level 10 with a Victor, fully upgraded. So basically what this guy decided to do was sack most of the rounds in order to make it to level 10 and then upgrade their unit. I still don't have a Caitlyn 2. I've been rolling a lot. Caitlyn 2, I think I win. Caitlyn 1, I might lose to this guy eventually because he looks very, very strong. Here I kind of messed up my positioning a little bit, but I'm just trying to find the best way that I can fit this Mel as well as keeping my units a little bit more isolated. Here I want to be on opposite side of the Jinx because Jinx has this stun effect. So right now, for example, my Twitch might be getting stunned a little bit. I want my my Caitlyn to survive so that I can kill it. This was maybe a clone diff. I might have lost this round normally because as you saw the Caitlyn live with just a little bit of HP. There's a good chance that maybe it's a clone diff. There's like a bug with Rebel. I would have died normally. But here I'm just going to roll. There's no need for me to go 10. There's nothing I'm really putting in except for experiment. But I don't care that much about it. So I'm rolling. I'm trying to find this Caitlyn too. And we finally hit it, right? It took me until around stage 6. That's pretty average luck, right? Like, you know, as much I high rolled the first Caitlyn, but the other 2 took a while to get to. But that's totally fine. This guy has no chance. I'm just going to say now. I don't even think Victor matters because Caitlyn is a caster. It would matter a lot more if I just had Twitch as my main carry because I have a Caitlyn with 3 items. It's like, this Victor's going to cast. It's going to be too late by the time this Victor casts. But yeah, let's watch this out. Ready? Bang. 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 One more. One more shot, Caitlyn. Ready? Bang. Oh, wait. One more. Bang. All right, we're good. GG. Really silly, really funny. But sometimes you find yourself in spots like this, right? This isn't something that you're going to look at the stats and say that it's particularly good. It's something you might experiment with and you might find that it's really strong. This only worked because the stars aligned. But that's why throughout this video I was saying, like, you know, I'm not denying. I high rolled. Do I deserve this win? Debatable. But, like, you know, I suffered. I went 5th the last 2 games. It wasn't my fault, you know, quote unquote, arguably, theoretically. But, like, that's the idea. When you see early unit, right? I had Nunu 2 on my board until, like, stage 5, end of stage 5, right? If you high roll stuff early, you know, use your duplicators early, play strongest board, tempo your board. I found a Caitlyn. I played around the Caitlyn. If I didn't find the Caitlyn, this probably would have been, like, a 2nd or a 3rd because I would have had to anomaly my Twitch. I would have had to play around Twitch, itemize Twitch, anomaly Twitch, hit Caitlyn later. There would have been a lot of tempoing. I would have rolled a lot deeper on level 8. It would have been a lot more clumsy. Like, it wouldn't have been as nice. But because I hit the Caitlyn, you take the Caitlyn, itemize the Caitlyn, 6 sniper, sacrifice your front line because the fights don't last long enough. It's strong enough. Double IE, blue buff. Pretty much what I don't know, Biss Caitlyn. I don't know if that's the best thing you can put on her. I'm sure there's people that will tell me that it's wrong. But just almost 100% crit on every one of her ults. Nobody stands a chance with 6 sniper. But anyways, thank you for watching. Hopefully that was enjoyable. This was supposed to be a little bit of a fun one in between the guides. Tomorrow, I'm going to do a guide on a comp. I want to do Academy, right? It's going to be like how to play X comp. I'm going to bring that back and do a couple of those. If you want a particular comp that you want to see in the upcoming future that you're more interested in, like for example, like Academy or Rebels or Emissary or stuff like that, I have a short list of what I'm doing in an order. I'm glad to shuffle those around to appease the people, because the channel is for the people, not for me. So if you guys want me to do a specific guide on a specific comp or a particular topic, make sure to comment down below and let me know, because then I'll just rearrange the order, right? Maybe tomorrow I might just do an Academy no matter what. It's not because I'm ignoring you, it's because I already started working on the PowerPoint, but the other ones I'll do as time goes on. So make sure to do that. Anyways, have fun, have a great day. Hopefully that was enjoyable. Tried to make it as enjoyable as possible. See ya. Bye-bye.